9 out of 10 fail in the first 10 years, and my belief is that 7 never should have tried. So when I think about who I want my podcast to reach, I want to be speaking to people about having a happy, joyous life in general, because by and large, I will tell you that if 10 people step in front of me and say, I want to start a business, I will tell you that 7 of you should just don't do it. It's not just about business. Having great mental health just has such an effect on everything in your life. In this day and age, we have gotten to a point where people actually poo-poo work. Like, the word work is something that causes people to roll their eyes. And that totally blows me away, because I have long said, work builds character. Your work builds a reputation. Working is not a bad thing at all. Working on something is what brings you to a sense of accomplishment. And we are back with another episode of the Julius Files. I am your host, Jason Julius, and I am recording this podcast the day after Thanksgiving because, let's just say that I don't know. I wrote quite a bit, but it was all because on Thanksgiving I happened to stumble across a documentary that just moved me. The documentary, it was on Netflix, and it's called Stutes. And I highly suggest that anybody listening to this definitely go out and watch Stutes on Netflix. What struck me about this that moved me in such a way was it was the first time that I had ever seen a patient turn the camera on the therapist, and everything was about the therapist letting his principles for mental health and wellness be put out there into the world, because the patient was so moved by the tools that he gave him to deal with. Like I said, life is not fair. That's not a reason worth living it. But in all of the negativity and unfairness of life, you do need certain tools to have good mental health. And then when we get into to my own personal journey, it was really thinking about what I wanted this podcast to be. And I think that it's diverse because, even when I've interviewed other people or talk myself, it is about principles for success, both in life and business. And when I talk about that, I want my words to be out there for a lot more about life. And I say it like that because the 9 out of 10 fail in the first year, and of the one that makes it, 9 out of 10 fail in the first 10 years. And my belief is that 7 never should have tried. So when I think about who I want my podcast to reach, I want to be speaking to people about having a happy, joyous life in general, because by and large, I will tell you that if 10 people step in front of me and say, I want to start a business, I will tell you that 7 of you should just don't do it. Which 7 of you? I don't know. That's not mine. Everybody's got to make their own life's decisions in general. But the point being, entrepreneurship is not right for everybody. More to the point, entrepreneurship is not right for the large majority of people. And I will take it a step further to say that if you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, I'm a normal person, then you are not right for entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is, it's just not for the faint of heart. It is not for the normal person. Most people will look at a successful entrepreneur, and even if there's admiration there, they're going to look at them and say, they're fucked up in some kind of way. They're broken in some kind of way. They're different in some kind of way. And that some kind of way is what makes them a good candidate for entrepreneurship. But by and large, the vast majority of people fail in entrepreneurship. The deck is so stacked against you so heavily that you are a crazy madman for even wanting to get into entrepreneurship. And when I look at the destruction and the ruins in the majority of paths in entrepreneurship, it really could have been saved by just simply being honest with yourself and looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, if I truly think deeply about this, I'm not cut out for entrepreneurship. The only people that need to be attempting entrepreneurship are the people that will hear my words and say, I can beat these odds. Those people are the people that they will hear my words and say, he absolutely does not know what he's talking about. I am built for entrepreneurship. I can succeed. Those are the people that should go forth and pursue their entrepreneurial journeys, because they have the conviction of knowing they can succeed in spite of all of the trials and tribulations and mountains that you're going to have to climb and difficulties that you're going to have to deal with, and keeping a positive mental outlook throughout the entire process. So when we get to that, I'm saying, by and large, the vast majority of people should not be entrepreneurs, but the vast majority of people, the 99.9% of people in the world, should be able to live a very fruitful, happy, healthy, joyous, mentally positive life, and you're going to need tools to deal with that. So as I was watching this documentary, I started really thinking about it, about what kind of message that I wanted to convey to people, because a lot of this stuff, I mean, I think some of it is that I'm a big believer that I have read the right books at the right time, and through time, it has equipped me with the tools to have a pretty healthy mindset, a healthy mental outlook on things, and not let wins get to blowing up my head, and not letting losses beat me down to the point of paralyzation, which is where so many people go wrong in business in general. But it's not just about business. Having great mental health just has such an effect on everything in your life. And I am just a big believer in personal accountability, that if you really want to have positive mental health, well, then take control of your mind. You are the one responsible for your perspective in life and what actually comes out of your life. No matter how big or small you live a life, when it was you choose your purpose in life. You choose the lens that you see through. You choose the perspective that you have on any situation in life, good, bad, or indifferent. And so I got to I guess, I started doing some writing after watching this documentary. And I mean, like I said before, in entrepreneurship, it is like you have to have the right mindset. It is a foregone conclusion. Like, you will not be successful in entrepreneurship if you do not have the right mindset. But then it started getting me thinking, just people and life in general. You have three basic relationships that you need to focus on in life. The relationship that you have with your mind, which is ultimately the most important, the relationship that you have with your body and yourself, and the relationship that you have with other people. So let's break that down. The relationship that you have with your mind is the most important relationship. And while I'm leading up to, I guess, this pyramid, what I'm getting at is that you should not focus on the relationship that you have with other people until you focus on your relationship with your own mind and your own body, because as you start to change the relationship that you have with your mind, it affects the relationship that you have with your body. It affects the relationship that you have with other people. So looking at it in a pyramid, like, if you master your relationship with your own mind, it's that starting point that all things change in general. So before you start focusing on your relationship with other people, it doesn't work backwards. You need to focus on your own mind and let those changes occur naturally so that you can get to a great relationship with your mind and a great relationship with yourself and your body, because that in itself is going to change the relationship that you have with other people. And once you have a great perspective about your mind and your body, then you can start focusing on having really great, fruitful relationships with other people. Because like in everything in life, you have a pendulum that swings from one side to the other. So you have a spectrum of things. So what I have wrote down here is that when you look at your mind, the best and the worst of the best when it comes to your relationship with your mind. The worst of the best is that you are the ultimate. The worst of the best when it comes to your relationship with your mind is the ultimate fuck you to the system by being aware and in a healthy perspective. That's actually success. And that's the worst of the best. The best of the best is having purpose and passion through discipline and fortitude, knowing your potential is limitless. And that is gratitude. And what I'm getting at is that is what you are actually striving for, because the people that are battling with mental health issues, the worst of the worst is the ultimate depression and anxiety, feeling the world is shit and everything is shit. And the best of the worst is thinking everyone and everything in the world is good, but it's you and your world that is shit, and the problems and the need to get your shit together, but you don't know how. And then there's that middle. These are the best and worst of the best and the best and worst of the worst. And there are so many tools in this day and age that the vast majority of people are somewhere in the middle and over at the best and the worst of the worst. Why? They're doing it to themselves. If you are fitting in that classification, you are doing it to yourself. And the bigger point is, if you are somewhere in the best or worst of the best, you have done it to yourself. Congratulations. You have literally sought out the information to give yourself the tools to live a great life full of success and gratitude for everything that actually comes your way. The point is, in this whole piece, everybody has to become a lover of work, because work is what actually changes things. It does not matter what you work on. You can work on yourself, you can work on your family, you can work at your job. The perspective of how you look at work is going to have a big determination on what type of life you experience, what type of mental health that you have. And in this day and age, we have gotten to a point where people actually poo-poo work. Like, the word work is something that causes people to roll their eyes. And that totally blows me away, because I have long said, like, work builds character. Your work builds a reputation. Working is not a bad thing at all. Working on something is what brings you to a sense of accomplishment. So fall in love with working, no matter what it is, because like, you're going to find a great relationship with somebody, and that's the newlywed, and after a year that shit wears off. And if it is a relationship worth having, it's still going to be work. So fall in love with the word work, and you will develop a healthy perspective that will allow you to start moving towards positive mental health. Okay, so let's say that you have read all of the books, you have searched out all of the right information. And I'm saying that because in this day and age of the internet, like I said in a previous podcast, the listening to the book or reading the book, The Secret. Well, when it was written, like, it was a secret. The information is out there now. It's not a secret. There are so many iterations of that book and so many different authors that have delved into pieces of that book that the information is out there to be had. You just have to actually seek out the information and take time to read/consume that information, and then start functioning. Like, ultimately, it is about gratitude. And I'm saying the best of the best is functioning in a mental state and a mindset of gratitude. Finding a reason to be grateful for everything that actually happens in your life. And you are like, the doctors want to give you pills because they want to numb your mind, because you are your own worst enemy, so that by numbing your mind, they somehow help you not be your own worst enemy. The reality is, if you focused on getting control of your mind and getting control of your thoughts. And when I say that, like, I realized a couple years ago that the negative influence of the media was really causing me mental pain. So I shut it off. Now, there are a couple pieces of information that I have shut off, but 98% of what is out there in the media is clickbait. It is designed to make you feel fear. It is designed to bring a mindset of scarcity. It is designed to make you hate one person or the other. And like, we'll get into one of those topics. Okay, so let's say that you like Trump. Well, you don't need to watch the news, because the news right now is designed to make you hate somebody else because of what they say about Trump. Let's say you don't like Trump. The news is designed to fuel that fear, that scarcity, and make you hate Trump supporters. Nothing is coming good from actually watching the news today, because 98% of it is garbage. And when it comes down to getting control of your mind, the first thing that you have to do is cut the negativity out. And the media just totally floods. It's like a total, if you turn on the news, it is nothing but a tsunami of negativity meant to divide us and get you to fear or hate a group of people. Nothing good comes from that when it comes to your actual mental state or your being. There is nothing on the news that is going to lead you to abundance or a mindset of gratitude. It's just not out there. That is not their game. That is not where they're actually making their money. So the first thing that you need to do if you want to get control of your mind is to literally cut out the negativity. And the first place I'm going to tell you to cut it out is to cut out the news. Like, quit watching the garbage itself. Then you've got to start assessing where other negative influences are coming in your life. But my point being, if you're going to get control of your mind, you have to start, as you are going through the day, that you are going to encounter negativity. So you have to counteract that with positivity. You have to consume the right information. Do what you can to find something to be grateful for through the process, because it is the process. When you talk about the pursuit of happiness, which is one of the things that we are supposed to be guaranteed in America, well, it's the journey. It is in the pursuit itself. It is in the experiences and the lessons that you learn as you are going through the journey, and it's in the perspective that you actually have. Okay, so what got me to the point of saying that your next relationship to focus on is your body is that I went to TikTok, and all of a sudden TikTok throws up this thing, and it was, an incredibly beautiful woman. That she was in the health and fitness space, but inside of her profile, she openly admitted that she had issues with how she viewed her own body. And like I said, an incredibly beautiful woman. I could not believe that she was having mental issues with how she looked at her body. She admitted that, 6 years as a gym rat, very focused on her mental and physical health, yet she would look in the mirror and she would find the most minute details of herself, of cellulite, of rolls that would cause her to reflect on herself negatively. And what I'm getting at is that if you get control of your mind, it is about consuming positive things mentally. Well, if you can consume positive things mentally, then you can look at yourself in the mirror and have a realistic light. It's not that you can't look at yourself in the mirror and say, yes, you love the person that you're looking at, but if there are things that you don't like about yourself physically, then start changing your habits. If there are improvements that you want to make, you shouldn't love yourself any less. It's just literally take mental action. Like garbage in, garbage out. If you want to see change in your physical appearance, then start making changes. And it is the 80-20 principle. Like, there's nothing wrong with working out. Everybody should be working out, whether it's calisthenics or heavy lifting, because it affects your mental chemistry. But that's the 20%. The 80% is about what you actually consume. So when I talk about the best of the best being discipline and fortitude, well, the best of the best mentally is knowing you can look at food in a different perspective and say, I know my body is addicted to sugar, and I know that candy or that candy bar or that garbage on that dish is not going to serve me well for the physical appearance that I desire to be. And there, again, you know what? Everybody's going to slip. You can have your own, your times, your cheat meals, but that's not the point. The point is to generally live your daily life looking at food, saying, if I consume that, is that going to serve me well? If it's not going to serve you well, then don't consume it. And I have, like, my son is one of those where he says he does not like that full feeling. And I'm like, man, that's going to serve you well, because I'm not going to deny that like I'll battle insomnia. So if I want to go to sleep, I will eat late at night and that full feeling. And I'm like, I'm ready to go to bed. But when I look back at it, it's a painful sleep. My digestive system is trying to digest everything that I've just consumed. So it's a restless sleep. It wasn't good for me. So the best thing that I could have done, rather than consuming any amount of food at bedtime like that, would have been to consume water. Worst of that, you're still going to end up in the middle of the night as your kidneys are filtering it out. But the point is, at least it's water. And for a brief moment, you can actually fill yourself up and give yourself that full feeling. But the point being, if you have a healthy relationship with your mind, you can start to have a healthy relationship with your body and be very conscious of the things that you're actually consuming. And when you start consuming better things, you're going to find that your physical appearance actually starts becoming a more healthy physical appearance. So as you're having a better relationship with your mind, you're going to start to notice your relationship with other people are going to change, because you're going to notice negative people. Then it's not that you're going to walk up to them and say, you're negative, I'm cutting you out of my life. You're just going to distance yourself from them, because you've noticed they bring negativity into your life, and that is not what you want, because the one thing that you have control of in your life is you. You have control of your own mental health. You have control of the things that you let come into your mind and influence you, the same way you have ultimate control about what you consume and what your body makes contact with. So as you are going through all of that, you are going to be making massive changes in your life. And these are all good things that are the rewards of saying, I'm on the right track. I'm developing a great relationship with myself mentally. I'm developing a great relationship with myself physically. Now I can actually move on to having great relationships with other people. Physical and mental health are all linked to exercise. Like, it is your health. There is nothing wrong. Exercise is work. And that is one more reason why I say fall in love with work. My business coach and mentor's biggest saying that sticks with me is, be kind to your future self. What you mentally consume today is going to affect you tomorrow. What you physically consume today is going to affect you tomorrow. And so many people hit 50 and they're like, okay, this is the halfway point. You are lying to yourself. The halfway point is more about 35 or 40 years old. So if you realize at 40 years old, what you consume at 40 is going to have a dramatic effect on the quality of life you live at 50. My point is, the earlier you start taking into account that what you consume today is going to have an effect on tomorrow, you're being kind to your future self. I want to see everybody have great relationships with other people, but it starts by having a great relationship with yourself. And ultimately, you need to be held accountable for that, or more specifically, ultimately, you need to be holding yourself accountable for that. And when I look back on my life has been filled with consuming the right information at the right time. Because, I mean, like somewhere in my 20s, I can remember being I thought I knew everything, and I looked at my parents and my elders and been like, today's a new world and you don't know what's going on. And somewhere about 25 years old, that light went off where I realized I was a big dummy that really didn't know shit, and I had a whole lot to learn. Somewhere in my 30s was when I realized that so many people are trained that you learn as a teenager, you learn in college, and somehow you think you're done learning once you get that degree and get out of college. And the reality is life is a lifelong learning. The more that you learn, the more that you're able to apply it to the next. So you should be on a journey of learning. And that journey of learning is going to be knowledge consumed on a daily basis that you're able to apply to make the next day more fruitful. And there are so many people that will say, whatever your situation is today, it's right where you're supposed to be. Because if you want to own your shit and look back, you'll realize today is a product of what you did yesterday, what you did last year, what you did the previous year. That is the delayed gratification of it. You don't just wake up today and say, I'm changing everything, and then think that you're going to wake up tomorrow and somehow the world is going to be completely different. There is delayed gratification involved. You do actually have to put in the work, and it is going to take time before you start seeing the fruits of that. It's no different than working out. You can say that you're going to start working out. A week from now, you are not going to feel tremendously better. It's going to take a month. It's going to take 2 months. It's going to take 3 months. But it is the discipline and the diligence of getting up every day, knowing I'm trying to be kind to my future self and more. And then I catch myself not trying, doing. I'm being kind to my future self. I'm taking care of myself today because it is going to serve me better tomorrow, and making healthy, appropriate choices and decisions so that when you get 2 or 3 years down the road, you can look back on today and say, today was the day that I decided that I was going to change everything, and look at 2 to 3 years down the road and say, wow, what a difference that made, because it is in the habits. It is in the disciplines. It is in the decisions. It is in everything that you do every single day. What are you doing to bring more positive into your life? What are you doing to consume more positive information and consume more positive actual nutrients into your body to make sure that you can function and operate optimally? And what can you do is you owning your shit that you are responsible for this. We are born into a world that we know life is not fair. Do not whine and cry about it. Get up every day and try and keep the negative away from you. Consume positive information. Consume high nutritious, that's high nutrients in good food. Go out of your way to have great relationships with people, and understand all relationships will teach you something. I have found myself around some people that I don't particularly care for, but I still looked for the lesson in my time that I was around them. And then I have found myself fortunate enough to be around some wonderful people. And not only was it a joyous experience, I learned that much more because I thoroughly enjoyed my time around the individuals themselves. So in life, you've got 3 relationships that you need to focus on. The relationship with your mind, and is it going to control you, or are you going to control it? The relationship with your body, and are you going to continue to consume garbage and that's not going to serve you well over the next 20 years? Or are you going to be disciplined enough to say, I don't need that in my system. I'm going to consume better things, and 20 years from now, I'm going to look back and thank myself and then your relationships with other people, and going out of your way to literally size up other people and being like, you are a positive force in the world. How can I spend more time around you? You are a negative force in the world. You are your own worst enemy. And I am just going to distance myself from you and do everything I can to stay away from you, because I don't have control of you and your negativity, but I have control of myself. And I know I want to live a healthy, happy, productive, positive life. I want to live a life of gratitude. So I need to distance myself from you. And that is you owning your shit and sizing up people around you and making appropriate decisions based on your own mental and physical health and your own relationships with other people. And it's about you owning your shit. You are responsible for your relationship with your mind. You are responsible for your relationship with your body. If you do not like what you see in the mirror, then change mentally what you focus on what you are going to consume physically, and change will occur. And as change occurs in your mind and body, miraculously, your relationships with other people will start to change. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and beat a dead horse. It's just that that mental health is a very big deal to me, and I feel so deeply for people that are experiencing just negative mental health. Where, I mean, I recognized early on I was my own worst enemy, but I sought out the tools to actually get myself to a better place in life, to get that pendulum to start swinging the other direction. And it took me many years to get there. But I can legitimately tell you, the first time that I actually realized what I was doing with my mental health was with my son. When my son died, I literally consciously said, how am I going to survive this mentally? And I literally thought about it and was like, you know what? There are individual children that lose their entire family in the blink of an eye. And I am the father that has lost one child. If those children are able to move on in life when they just lost their entire family and everything, there is no excuse for me to not move forward and continue to be a productive member of society and handle the responsibilities and live up to the commitments that I've already made, because I still have my other children that are depending on me. It was at that moment in my life that I realized I was controlling my mind, and I was looking at my perspective and saying, my perspective is going to determine my pass or fail, my success or fail in life in general. And it was in that moment that I realized I have the power to control my mind, and it got me through to the other side. Everybody has that inflection point in life where that light bulb goes off, where you realize you have the ability to be your own worst enemy or not. And that is up to you. That is not up to anybody else. I sincerely hope that that what I've said over these last 30 minutes resonated with some people. And if you know anybody that needs to hear this, please share this show, because this was one of those that on Thanksgiving, as I was thinking about everything that I'm actually grateful for, to watch that documentary. In that moment, I was grateful that documentary was suggested to me on Netflix. Stutz is the name of the documentary, and it was a wonderful documentary, and definitely worth taking the hour and a half to watch and listen. And his tools were very solid tools to help you take control of your own mind, and give you the tools that you need to have the best mental health that you can provide for yourself. So, okay. That is my podcast for today. So until next time, you guys have a good night.